Hello, Internet. My name is Roro. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone's having a good day. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I probably will talk about a lot on this channel, and it's just essentially my lifestyle, how I live my life, and I don't fully know how to categorize it, but let's just say the life of a modern American recluse. Some people would probably use the term hermit as well, but hermit usually has a religious connotation to it, so I like the term recluse personally. Another term that you could possibly use is loner as well, which I definitely feel like I'm a loner, but I feel like a loner is not a choice that you make. It's just kind of how you naturally function, but being a recluse, being a hermit, that's a conscious decision. And the reason I use the distinction of modern is because when you hear the word hermit or recluse, you don't necessarily think of what that would look like in today's world. You know, when I think of a hermit, I think of a religious monk living at the top of a mountain in a cave, praying 12 hours a day. I don't think of someone who spends their whole day in their apartment in the year 2021 in America. And I think also identifying that I'm speaking about this in the context of America is important, just because America is such a fascinating place, to say the least. And obviously, there's most likely societal reasons why that I've been led to this lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'll get into that. Let's really start to dig into this. So, how did me becoming a recluse start? Well, let's go all the way back to me as a kid. I'll use that term again, loner. I've always felt like I was a loner. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't have any friends or that I was always alone. I just feel like I function the best when I am alone. And I really require a lot of alone time to feel okay and to feel charged and to feel like I can take on the energy that is required for a daily living experience. And to this day, I feel like even my closest friends and family, there's always a little bit of a disconnect there where I feel like I'm not like them, or I think about things so radically different than other people that are close to me, So maybe outcast is a good term too, but I don't like that word for some reason, because that implies this construct around it, But yeah, I feel like I've always just kind of stood out in my own way, and I have always enjoyed alone time. Since I was young, I've really enjoyed spending time completely by myself. And since I was in 6th or 7th grade, around the time that I would start going out with my friends and doing things like completely on our own, I enjoyed myself a lot of the time, but also there was a large majority of the time where I would want to just stay home by myself and play video games. So that's what I did. It was so bad to the point where when I was 14 years old, I got mono in the summer. And my girlfriend at the time, she literally thought that I was lying to her about being sick so that I could stay home and play video games. Or when I was in college, when I was a little older, I would hang out with my friends for a little bit, but they would always want to go out and party or go to these other houses and have these big parties. And I'm not really a drinker. I'm definitely not a partier. So they sort of nicknamed me. They would call me the wet blanket, which for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it's like they ruin the fun. And I know when you're in college, that's kind of the environment, being around a bunch of people, partying, having fun, being independent as a person for the first time in your life. But those things just didn't interest me. And this is something that my friends slowly started to learn about me. And some of them accepted it and didn't really care. Some of them didn't care enough about me to even put any thought into it. And then some people really took it as a personal attack, like I didn't want to be around them or that I didn't want to spend time with them, which I can understand why someone would feel that way, Like I'm not faulting them in that situation. But even to this day, I'm still trying to figure out how to rationalize my existence and what I enjoy doing and how I enjoy living my life, because there's so much pressure I feel like I don't feel the pressure as much now that I'm older, but especially when I was a teenager, like early 20s, there's so much pressure to be doing stuff all the time and like having to be working or be hanging out with people, like, you could say FOMO or whatever. So it wasn't until a few years ago in my late 20s that I fully decided, you know what? I don't have to do any of those things. I don't have to go to bars and hang out with people that are drunk when I'm not drinking. I don't have to go to parties where I don't know anybody just for the sake of being at a party. I don't have to go to every single show that's around just because it's to be in part of the scene where everyone's just trying to get over on each other and no one's actually building healthy relationships. I just decided that I'm not going to do any of those things anymore. And one of the most liberating feelings is when someone asks, hey, do you want to go do this? Me saying, no, I don't want to do that. I don't have to lie. I don't have to think of a reason why I should go, force myself to go, not enjoy myself. I don't have to make up an excuse just so that I can protect the person's feelings that's asking me, or more realistically, so I don't have to feel the guilt of letting somebody down. But I'm glazing over the surface for this one. We're going to get into other things in the future on this channel, but I'm just trying to give an introduction basically here. So essentially, it's not one thing that I can identify. It's not one moment. It's not one decision. It's a culmination of a lot of things that date back to me being very young, which has led me to be a recluse. And another thing that I can't ignore is mental illness. I have multiple mental illnesses that I have dealt with, that I currently deal with on a regular basis, and that is 100% a factor as to why I have such a hard time being around people, which has also been a point of contention within myself because I've had to battle that feeling. How much should I push through and just face it and put myself in situations that I'm uncomfortable? That's important. That's definitely a necessary aspect of mental illness and battling that, because there is a level of socializing that is necessary that I do have to do. I'm not in solitary confinement in a cabin in the woods. I'm still around people all the time. So that is something that is really important, is making sure that you have the tools so that you can function around people. And if you're struggling with that, I would recommend that's when you would have to get some help. Whatever that is to you. If there's something that's impeding your daily life and your daily functioning and you're unable to do just normal daily things, that's when I would recommend somebody reaching out and asking for professional help. Honestly, if you're able to live your life regularly and you're happy and you're not throwing away things that you would want to do because of an issue that you're having, then you're probably okay. I would definitely recommend still just talking to people you trust. It's always important to let things out, get things off your chest. But yeah, I could talk about mental illness all day. I'm just very passionate about it. So, but let's get back on the topic. So, what does a day in the life of a modern American recluse look like? For me, at least. So, I have a job. I work remotely from my home, all on the computer. Most of the day, like a normal person, I'm just working. And this is not something that was the case for me until this past year. Before this past year, I was having to go into jobs and doing all these different jobs, not from my home. So I wouldn't consider my life truly the life of a recluse until this past year. It was always a desire that I had. I just didn't have the opportunity. I was very fortunate to get the opportunity to be able to work from home remotely. And I was very, very happy with that because it's very conducive of how I would prefer to live my life. I also recently moved to a new city, far away from all of my closest friends, most of my family. So I have no one to really go see. I do have some family here that I do see on a regular basis, at least 3 times a month. They live relatively close. And of course, I do have to go get food. I have to go to the store to do certain things. I don't have a car, so that's not something I have to worry about either. And luckily, there's a grocery store right on my block. So I can just go downstairs, get my food, come right back upstairs. There's a convenience store right across the street, so I can just run across the street, get whatever I need, come right back. And I even could have the option of ordering everything to my apartment, but there's certain things that I value higher than me needing to not leave my apartment, such as creating unnecessary labor for some other workers. You know what I mean? I would rather have them not have to do it and me just have to do it myself. Which actually leads to an interesting point where a lot of this is my need to be self-reliant and not have to depend on anybody for my own survival. Once again, I'm not living out in a cabin in the middle of the woods by myself. You know, I'm not like having to kill my own food or find my own food or somehow get my own fresh water or cleaning myself. I'm living a modern life, which is why I think that distinction is so important, because it is a choice that I'm making to do this. It's not something that is necessary like it maybe was at one time or for certain people. And yeah, other than that, I just spend my time doing what I'm passionate about, which is making music, making art, playing video games. I spend a lot of time on the internet reading about stuff, watching videos. I've tried to read more books recently. I have a dog that I spend time with here, who also is a reason for me to go outside, go around my block, go to the park very close by. He's a great reason for me to get outside, because that is necessary too. You know, you got to get some sun. You got to be outside sometimes. Our bodies were not meant to sit still for the entire day for a long extended periods of time, which is what I really wish I could do, honestly. But I also am aware that I have to treat my body right a little bit. Yeah, and I don't want to make this video too long. I really just wanted to kind of start talking about it, start the conversation. I'm sure I'll end up going into more detail of certain things that I've mentioned in this video or that I'll think of in the future that I'll want to talk about, because, you know, this is my life. This is my daily life, and this is how I spend my days. And I think about everything surrounding this all day because I'm just in my head all day thinking. And that's another reason why I like to spend so much time alone, is because I do a lot of thinking and I do spend a lot of time within myself. Even if I'm around people, I'm always kind of within myself. So I feel the safest and I feel the most comfortable when I'm just home in my apartment. So yeah, that's a quick synopsis of the life of an modern American recluse. I hope you guys like this video. New video every week, every Sunday. So stick around, come through to the next one if you enjoyed this one. I don't know what it's going to be. This is still the very early days of the channel. So if you're listening to this, I'm not really even promoting it. So I appreciate it, you listening. Somehow, if you found it, thank you for finding it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.